Greetings, loyal subscribers and honoured guests. I know we're quite far through quarter two already, but I wanted to start doing something on the channel where at the end of each quarter, I go through all of the games that I've managed to complete in that 3 month period. So in this video, you'll see me go through everything that I've managed to complete in January, February, and March. And when I say complete, I mean just that I've got to the end of the game and seen credits. It doesn't necessarily mean that I've 100% beaten any of these games, because I typically don't do that anyway. I'm not one of these people that goes for every single achievement or every single optional side quest in a game. If it's fun, I'll do it, but more often than not, once I've had my fill of a game, I'll just move on. So first of all, let me just scrub forward into the clip a little bit. This is a game called Thank Goodness You're Here. And it's quite a short game. I'd say 4 hours at the most, possibly even slightly shorter than that. And it's almost, you'd almost not really call it a game at all, really. There are sort of puzzles and things, but it's more a series of quite bizarre sort of Monty Python-esque sketches, and it's very British in its style. It's based on a small coal mining town in the north of England. I think it's Barnsley is the real town, if I remember rightly. But this is a fictionalised version, and it's quite bizarre. And it features the voice talents of Matt Berry as the gardener. He's the most sort of prominently well-known actor in the game. I think most of the other voices are from the development team itself. But this is a genuinely hilariously funny game that won't take you too long to beat, as I said. And yeah, pretty much the only sort of action you can do is punching things. So it's just a matter of you exploring all the scenes and talking to people and figuring out how to make the story move on, really. And you can do that pretty much via a mixture of deducing what to do next and also just trial and error. So I beat this game very early in the year. It was New Year's Day, actually, or possibly even New Year's Eve leading into New Year's Day, and it was good to get a game ticked off quite so early on into the year. But I would recommend this game to anyone. This is running on my Steam Deck, and it runs brilliantly well, either in handheld mode or, as you see here, through a dock. So yeah, I haven't got too much more to say about this one. If you want something to cheer you up and make you laugh, then this would be a good one to pick. The only sort of downside I would say is considering the price of the game at launch, which was about £12. It doesn't really take you very long to beat at all. So maybe wait for a sale if that's something that's important to you. But if money is not really an issue, then just get it and enjoy it anyway. So let's move on to the next one. Now we have a game called Fort Solis. Now a year or two ago, I think it was the Game Awards, they showed off a series of games that were all sort of space-themed horror games. They all looked quite similar. You had the Callisto Protocol, which was made by people who were involved in making the original Dead Space. And then you had the official Dead Space remake from Electronic Arts. And then you had this game, Fort Solis, which on the surface appeared to be yet another one of that sort of game. But really, this is quite different. It's not a survival horror by any means. It's what you'd call a walking simulator, really. So what you're doing mostly is roaming around this Martian installation, Fort Solis, and trying to figure out what's happened to everybody and what's going on. Turning the power back on and finding the residents, or what's happened to them. And again, this is another fairly brief game at about 6 hours. This is the PlayStation 5 version that I'm playing. I did acquire the Steam Deck version through a bundle. I think it was Humble Bundle choice for January, but I didn't really like how it performed, especially blown up on a big TV through the dock. So I ended up not playing it on the Steam Deck and getting a fairly cheap copy of the physical disc through Amazon, which I then traded in after I'd beaten it, because it's not really the sort of game that I see myself coming back to. And I managed to get pretty much most of the value back from CEX for trading it in. So it is quite entertaining though. It's a very sort of slow burn game, and it's not got much in the way of action. There's a little bit towards the end which takes the sort of form of quick time events really, but it's a solid game. It's got the voice of the guy who plays the lead character in Redemption 2. I can't remember the actor's name now, but it's also got Troy Baker in it as well. So a couple of fairly big names in the voice cast for what is really quite a small, independently developed game. So that's impressive. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. And now we have what is really the first sort of really big game that I managed to beat in January. And I didn't actually capture any footage of myself playing this game, which is why you can see that I've got credits in the corner for Nightfall, because this is his walkthrough that I've just used a little bit of so that I can illustrate what I'm talking about. And this is the first in the Trails of Cold Steel sub-series from Trails, which I have been playing my way through for a couple of years now. There are 4 games in total in Cold Steel, and they're basically sort of 2 pairs. 1 and 2 follow on directly from each other, and then 3 and 4 form another pair. And these are turn-based RPGs, fantasy RPGs. I'm playing it on the Steam Deck, and I believe this is the PlayStation 4 or 5, I'm not sure, but it doesn't look drastically different playing through the Steam Deck. I see this guy is playing it on hard, which was why he got beaten there, but I was not playing it on hard. I was just playing it on the standard settings, so that's fine for the first playthrough. And yeah, so this took up a big chunk of my January. I think I had beaten it by the end of the month though. So and I really enjoyed it. This one sees you taking control of Reen Schwarzer, the dark-haired chap there, as he enters into a military academy and basically begins his education. And yeah, you visit various places on field study trips, and do quests for people. It basically takes on the pattern of you do one part of the chapter on the school grounds, and you explore this old schoolhouse, which has a dungeon on every floor, and there's a mystery that surrounds it. So yeah, you get to try and get to the bottom of that mystery over each of the chapters, and then the second part of each chapter is typically going away to one of the nearby towns and doing things for the locals, and so on. And then I think that takes us to February for part 2. No, we're still in January for and then later on in January I began Trails of Cold Steel 2, and yeah, this follows on directly from the previous game, as you would probably surmise, but now we're in Civil War, effectively. The students have become full-on soldiers, and you get split up at the start, and a good chunk of the first half of the game is reuniting everybody, not only from your battle party, but your other fellow students who also will adopt roles on your flying dreadnought that you have. And and then it's up to you to try and prevent tragedies and protect the townspeople. But gameplay wise, it is fairly similar to part 1. They have tweaked it a little bit, and you end up sort of expanding your skill set further than you were allowed to do in the original game, because you get access to higher level magic. Most of the places that you visit in part 2 are revisits from part 1, with this town and the surroundings being the one exception, really. You start off in Reen's hometown of Ymir, which is this snowy place, but the rest of the game is all sort of rehashed from the first game, which might bother some. It didn't bother me too much, because you really come to these games for the plot mostly and the gameplay, so not having new places to visit is a bit of a bummer, really, but not a deal breaker for me. And then that should take us to February. Yeah. So now we're on Cold Steel 3, and I was motoring through this series quite fast, really. This one, I think, has had a slight graphical upgrade, and it's kind of resets the status quo of the world a little bit. So the Civil War has ended. You managed to stop it pretty much, but it ended in a few things happening to various places in the world, and now Reen Schwarzer is back, but he's now no longer a student. He's graduated, and he is a instructor at the sister site of the university from the original game. So you take on a new group of students, including the pink-haired girl Juna, and Kurt, and Altina, who you see in the party here, along with Claire, who's a guest character returning from previous games. So yeah, this one was pretty much follows the same pattern as Trails of Cold Steel 1, except all the places that you visit are new this time. And this one, you're going back to student life, well, as an instructor, but by the time this game finishes, the war has recommenced, but this time it's not a civil war within the country, it's a intercontinental war. And that's what's happening in Trails of Cold Steel 4, which I have started playing, and I've made my way through the first act, but I have not yet finished it. In fact, it's taking me quite a long time to work my way through Trials of Cold Steel 4. So that will probably be in my Q2 video whenever I make that. I need to sort of get on and keep playing that really. But Assassin's Creed Shadows has come along and taken up most of my time in April so far. So we'll see. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. So now we come to Sparklight. Let me just scroll forward in the clip a little bit to a more interesting part of the game. So I wanted to talk about this game in my Rock Solid Roguelikes video, but I never quite got round to it because I didn't record any footage of the game when I played through it originally, and then I had trouble getting my external hard drive with my capture that I did do of it to cooperate with my PC, which is why I've used somebody else's clip here. But this is another fun action roguelite. Basically the gameplay is very similar to a classic 2D Zelda, where it's an action RPG pretty much, and there's dungeons where you can unlock gadgets that allow you to progress further into the world and solve puzzles. But this being a roguelike of course, the map changes each time that you go on a run, and you earn the currency of the game, which is the Sparklight, and then you can spend that back at your floating base on upgrading the facilities and equipment and things to give you more of a chance of surviving, and more abilities that you can use to progress further into the game. And it's a lot of fun. It's a fairly brief game at about 10 hours maximum. Actually, it's probably a good deal shorter than that, because that 10 hours includes finding all these optional little critters called beats that one of the townspeople asks you to look for, which is entirely optional and adds another couple of hours onto the playtime, I would say. But I did actually go through and do all of that, and I enjoyed it. But you can't find all these beats in one run because they're literally not all in the world. They're sort of randomly distributed each run, and then you gradually find them all. They make a little tweeting sound like a bird. So basically, the best thing to do is to kill all the enemies on a screen, and then just stand there and be quiet for a few seconds and see if you hear any bird noises, and then use where it's coming from to help you track them down. So yeah, this game is really good fun. I like the 2D pixel art. The action gameplay is easy to get into, and the game can be found for incredibly cheap. It goes on sale often, and it's available on all systems, PC, including Steam Deck, Xbox Series X, Switch, and PS4 I think it's on, so you can play it on the PS5 just fine anyway. And I would really recommend it. As roguelikes go, this is on the easier side, I would say. And in fact, I think the default difficulty was a little bit too easy. You do unlock a harder option once you beat the story on the default setting, but I wish that was an option to just choose that straight away, because the bosses are mostly a bit of a breeze. I only had trouble with one of them, and it's because I hadn't really leveled up my character enough. But after I'd added some more hearts and things and made my wrench power more powerful, I got through that boss with no problems, and then all the bosses after that died pretty much in one attempt. So yeah, it's not the most tricky game out there, but I would still recommend it. and it'd be an ideal pick for your first roguelite. But so anyway, that's Sparklight. So let's move on. Moving into March, we have Children of Morta, which I did actually talk about on my Rock Solid Roguelikes video. So I'm not going to spend too long talking about this game here, because you can just watch that on the channel as well. But yeah, this is another action roguelite. I had got the sort of roguelite bug by this point, and I already had the idea of making a video talking about a few of them. So yeah, I selected this one as the next one to play through. It again, this can go on sale quite often for not too much money, and it's a bit longer than Sparklight at about 16 to 20 hours, I would say. And the addition of the Family Trials mode, which you can do after you've beaten the main game, could extend that runtime considerably if you're into that sort of thing. It's a much harder, much more time-consuming roguelike mode. The only negative thing I would say about this game really is the lack of environments. There's 3 main biomes, and you'll see a lot of repetitive caves and things with the same sort of enemies. So if they ever make a sequel, I'd hope to have a bit more variety in it. But this is a solid game nonetheless, and I really enjoyed playing it. And now lastly in March we have Avowed, which has been both fairly and unfairly compared to something like Skyrim. Fairly because just at first glance it's a first person fantasy RPG, so it does sort of conjure up images of Skyrim if you just see it from a distance and you don't play it. But when you actually get into it, it's it's not really much like Skyrim at all. It's shallower in many ways, I would say, but still really good fun. There's no sort of moral system for when you steal things from people in towns. You can just sort of roam around and take whatever you want from people without being thrown in jail or anything. So it's not really trying to be the same sort of game as Skyrim is anyway. But and it's a lot shorter, at about 40 to 50 hours at the most. But by the time I finished it, I did feel that was plenty long enough, really. Any more, and it would probably start to lose its appeal. But it looks really nice. I think this is the PC version we're looking at now. I did play it on the Xbox Series X because I had access to it through Game Pass on there. I enjoyed the story. It's got sort of quite a lot of sort of political intrigue, and it involves you sort of solving your own murder, because not too long into the game you're actually killed and then brought back from the dead by this deity that you're not sure is good or evil. So yeah, there's a lot of moral decision making that you can do throughout the story, which is always fun. In terms of the world, it's not one sort of vast open area like Skyrim is. It's a series of, I think, 5 smaller sub-areas that are quite densely populated with places to explore and things to do. And the parkour system is really fun in this game. So just jumping around and exploring every nook and cranny and finding treasure and stuff is a huge appeal to this game. If it at the moment it's limited to PC and Xbox, but if it comes out on other platforms like PlayStation and even Switch 2, then I would recommend giving it a try if it looks like your sort of thing. Yeah, so that's all the games that I have beaten during the first 3 months of the year. So I'm going to wrap it up there pretty much. This is, as well as telling you all the games I've beaten, this is as much for my own benefit as well, so I have a record of stuff that I've completed. I am keeping a sort of text list so that I can more easily come up with my Game of the Year award at the end of the year, but it's just nice to keep track of what I have beaten as I beat them, rather than trying to remember everything that I beat at the end of the year. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. If not, I'm going to keep doing them anyway, probably. So yeah, thanks for watching, and in the meantime, take care.